Full.
We asked for it at the beginning of the day, gentlemen, and Samsung Galaxy has delivered a Game 5 for us here. 2 wins for SKT, 2 followed up by Samsung Galaxy, and boy, is this venue heating up.
And after the second game, I was taunting the Fisher, like, you gotta listen to the superior analyst, clear 3-0, and he was like, yeah, and then suddenly, everything went downhill from there.
Everything went downhill. Started game 3, obviously,
Went uphill.
Well, it went uphill for Samsung, downhill for SKT, you know, and your prediction, obviously, but we saw that game 3, this was the big turnaround for Samsung. Game 4, you can see how much it means for them now. My voice is gone, I've been yelling in here as well, because this is just absolutely crazy to watch. But seeing Samsung in the early game now play much, much better, not make the same over-aggressive mistakes and then get punished for them. There were still a few mistakes here and there, but both teams have had the same ones.
Yeah, definitely. And that was the first early game out of Ambition where I'm like, this guy is now on point, getting multiple camp steals, tracking Blank around the jungle. That's all you have to do against Zach, because this guy needs to impact with his ganks, and he wasn't able to do that because of the Lee Sin.
I'm still so worried for the Samsung bot lane in the early game, though. Every single game they play, they're getting murdered, especially once the CS hits like 20 to 30. Ruler seems to get stuck in really poor trades every single game, and then Samsung get, honestly, a big deficit right there, but on the top side of the map. If you have a deficit bot side, you need to start winning top side, and the man to do that was Cuvee. What a performance from him in that top lane.
Yeah, one of the big things we talked about coming into the series was counter-picking top.
Yep.
And how important it was. You've seen both top laners do it every single game now. They're able to get like good matchups if you were picking last as a top laner. Kennen was the second time we saw it. First time he won the lane big time, but then he got dove 500 times and he just ended up dying and did absolutely nothing in teamfights. This game he had a good laning phase, got a solo kill as well, and he took that into teamfights. Some beautiful flanks. We even have a replay of one of the insane flanks he pulls off.
Yeah, and we'll get to that replay in just a moment as we see SKT on our screens here going over what their plans might be for Game 5 here. Spawn, take this away.
And this just shows how much on a different page Blank is from the rest of the team, because they're going to initiate onto Ambition here. And Blank decides that he's going to dive over the opposite side of the red buff. And it's just, he isolates himself for no purpose.
Yeah, and you are Zach. When you use your slingshot to not even get into the fight, you are doing absolutely nothing. He actually jumped in and just painted a big arrow buff. He said, please go for me, and then Cuvee shows up.
And this is what happens when you don't have to go Zhonya second, when you can get the Snowboard Void stuff. He even has his Zhonyas as well, and he honestly just tears through that backline.
And that's honestly a great point that Spawn brings up right there, because a Kennen that has the lead, not only can he itemize more efficiently for power teleports, but also you can just keep pushing the lane, allowing for yourself to have more windows of opportunity to exactly use that teleport. In the previous game where he picked Kennen, as the Fisher alluded to, he won lane, but then he got pushed in, meaning he could never really get any teleports. There wasn't any deep vision. But right now, Samsung lured SKT in their jungle, and they punished them super hard.
Yeah, we have to, of course, look at Blank, who got subbed into this game. Picked is Zach. He's played it before already here in playoffs, so it's not like the pick itself is super surprising, but you need so good coordination to play Zach Orianna especially, because you want to coordinate like the proper ball setups and then like a beautiful engage into a fight. He had multiple attempts in the mid lane where they looked very off. We actually saw Samsung win a lot of those skirmishes in the mid lane, and then we just saw that big replay where he jumps in and just literally sets himself in front of Samsung and just allows them to kill him.
Well, let me use the Bengi Blank situation to push us forward to this 5th game, because Bengi is being subbed back in. So after that loss, Game 5, SKT's putting their chips back into the Bengi basket here. And Samsung Galaxy, well, they've chosen blue side. So what are our primary thoughts or preliminary thoughts going into Game 5?
We need a strong pick. If you're an SKT fan, you want a strong pick on Faker, and you want, again, Bengi to play around that mid lane. Because if you're watching Faker's player cam throughout the game, he was getting a little bit frustrated at the end as well. He was raising his hands up. Faker has shown that in the past. He's also shown that if you make him angry, which he is right now, he will smash you in the next game. So I'm very excited to see what that guy does.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see if he can transition from what was a really sloppy game with his jungler back to the jungler that he's comfortable with, and whether he can execute really crisply, because that's going to be pretty key in this game.
All right, well, here's the thing. The graphic is up, so now I'm going to go back down the line. I'm going to ask you guys, with this 5th game in mind, I'm going to give you the chance to change your minds here on your predictions. So, Krepo, starting with you, who's going to walk away world champion tonight?
I'm going to change my prediction. Instead of a 3-0, I'm going to go for a 3-2. SKT is still going to win it because they put Bengi back in.
All right, so Bengi back in, seals the deal for you, Krepo, in a 3-2 now. But Spawn, what are you thinking?
You know, in LCK playoffs, when KT got the reverse sweep, I was so happy. Big KT fan back from when they were KTA. And then when they lost out to the Samsung roster, I was like, KT didn't die for this. Well, turns out they did, because they're going to reverse sweep SKT as well. I'm going to flip-flop on this one and lock it in for Samsung.
There it is. We got our vote for Samsung here on the desk. Officio, what do you got?
Well, you got the crowd with you as well there, Spawn. I think Samsung will have, you know, a super, super good advantage coming into this. Just in terms of mindset, attitude, everything. I do think, however, SKT has the experience to pull this one back, to get Bengi back in there. They're going to play much better with the jungler early on. They're going to get some dragon control. And I'm going to stick to the prediction I had earlier in the day. Competitive series, it will go back and forth, but SKT will win in the end.
Okay, but now I'm going to make you all flip-flop here. I'm going to make you all flip-flop here. So back down the line, though. I want you to give me the reason or the way that Samsung Galaxy wins, and then I want you to give me the reason or the way that SKT wins.
You want to go first?
All right, so the way Samsung is going to win this game is they need to, first of all, have a pick in mid lane where they can actually gank around it. And we saw the Victor be very successful because they had Jhin coming in, they had support coming in, they had jungle coming in, everything. Victor against Orianna, I actually think that's a fine matchup for them. So I want to see that matchup again. I think SKT will also take it. Can be fine for both sides. And then also for top lane, QV, he needs to have a strong laning phase, and he cannot start falling behind because they need him to set up these big team fights.
All right, so you're looking for the solo lanes to make up for an expected deficit in the bot lane. Now, Spawn, flipping back over to SKT. How does SKT walk away with victory here after sustaining 2 losses? We have to remember that this is a team that just lost twice in a row.
Yeah, and you know, yesterday I said that they have 4 players not in my top 20 at Worlds, and I'm going to stick to that because 4 of them are playing real poorly today. However, they do have the best and second best player in the world. I think the Faker's still the best. I think Bang stepped up huge. And I think that if for one game these guys can just go off and exploit their counterparts, they will be able to pick up the victory. However, the rest of the team needs to stop feeding for that to happen.
And Ban Lee's in, by the way. Ambition is making some plays, some good and bad ones, but he's making a lot of proactive plays, and Samsung needs that.
All right, anything left to be said here, Crepo, or are you just going to smile and nod? That's okay, you're a pretty man. You can afford to do that.
I just hope Duke stops trying to be a hero.
Yeah.
He keeps going for these plays because a lot of QV's solo kills come from Duke aggressing first. If the plan is for SKT to play around mid lane and get Faker comfortably and have him chip away the turret, Duke is fine being in a CS hole, but he doesn't have to keep going for the place and dying, because that's exactly the moment where QV takes over the game, and then the advantage spills over, and suddenly that bot lane deficit doesn't matter anymore. So I'm just looking for a strong performance in the bot lane and the mid lane from SKT, and Duke, just stop dying.
All right. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. After 5 weeks of competition, it all comes down to a single game. We'll be back with the deciding clash between SK Telecom T1 and Samsung Galaxy right after this.
Up in the top lane, Duke and QV, they're going toe-to-toe. Slicing Maelstrom burns through. Flash for flash, QV, first blood! Solo kills Duke! Very good tidal wave. He's found 3. Charges up the Maelstrom, the slingshot, Faker's down. SKT turning it around. Poor JJ gets caught out. The Mega Gnar comes down as well. Blanker's exhaust, the curtain call, the gravity. Kills. It's a double for Bang. Duke's in trouble. Ruler can't get the kill. He does in the end. Sends him packing with a deadly flourish. Now Duke's in trouble. The GA's pop. Ruler gets another. Samsung and SKT are going to game 5.